Okay, should be live. Microphone says it's picking stuff up. Didn't get a chance to announce this one too far in advance. Had a little bit of time before Barrett and Colin start streaming their KDM, which is always a good time. So I wanted to work some more on this, and I'm going to go straight into the Turbo Dork 4D glasses. I think we're going to get mostly this color on camera, or is it the purple? No, I think it's this one on camera. And then it will, in real life, in person, it shifts depending upon the angle that you're looking at it from. So here it is. Yeah, so you're getting mostly the green on the camera, but I'm getting the purple reflection in the back here. Off camera. So we'll see. Should add like a little bit of oil type sheen to it. I've never painted an area this large with this stuff before. So I'm going to start on these little parts. All right. You do not want it to be too thick either, or it will bubble. It's going on fairly smooth. You're supposed to do several coats. And I think the more coats you add, the more of the color shifting you get. I'm not sure about that. But I may just be satisfied with one coat. Getting a nice little effect off of it. I kind of want to see how this is going to play with the whole sorry about the shaking. I'm trying to get it to stay focused on the piece in the front. I want to see how this is going to play with all the other colors before I start adding in detail on like the lion and the snakes and the dragons and stuff. I think that's going to be cool. I really like using this Turbo Dork paint whenever I can. And it's becoming more available. Like I actually bought this pot on Amazon. The first set of Turbo Shift paints that I bought from them, I had to get them direct from their website. I think I am getting just mostly green. I have noticed too with some of these though that like if I change the lighting, so like maybe if I turn off this really bright one I've got right in front of my face, it might change the effect coming off of this too. Okay, now for our first decently sized piece. I am using my metallic brush and my metallic water jar to do this. I wasn't sure if like the little sparkly bits contaminate my other brushes and water jar. See what it looks like with this light off. There might be some parts that aren't actually getting painted, like in the ripples. It's kind of hard to tell, but actually that might not be too bad because it looks like a little of the black is still showing through. I might be painting during their stream also. But yeah, there is a lot of there's a lot of black to do on this. Tonight's the night. I think it's the hand, right? But it could be a short one. Doesn't Gambler's Chest hand have the card where if somebody gets an observation, the fight is basically over? And I know Colin and Baron, even if I told them not to take people with knowledges, they'd be like, we'll be fine. If we lose somebody, we lose somebody. I don't think they have any shields. You need a shield to do that, though, right? And I don't think they have any. What are you working on as far as painting goes? We'll see. I mean, those two get incredibly lucky, man. They get so lucky. I feel like with their uh oh, the second board. I just get all four. My 15th Annie box came last night. I haven't opened it yet, but I was half contemplating doing an unboxing. I don't know why, but why all of a sudden start now? Actually, because of what I was thinking is that I get so many friggin' shipments of stuff for KDM and for everything, I guess, actually. And why not? People like to see it. swear holding these things is half the dang battle. I tried shoving it onto one of my holders with some poster putty, but there just wasn't enough for the putty to hold on to. He's a 35mm base. That's got to be like, okay, they sculpt it and then they're like, this is just too cool to go down, so we're just going to leave it. Whatever, forget it. It's like Adam probably saw it and he was like, yeah, we're just keeping that. Who cares? It's a little bit challenging to see which parts have been painted already. Are you using the stuff from the page, from the shop, like using digital images? Or I guess sometimes you use scans of cards too, right? Yeah, scans, yeah. I'm so glad that Barrett and I were able to talk Colin into playing KDM at, it was basically at Gen Con. He saw the booth. He was walking with Barrett, and they were at the booth. I think I was doing a Star Wars card game at the time. and he was asking them a bunch of questions, and then I joined them a little later, and he started asking me why I like to play it, and we kept talking about it, and then I think they told me they were discussing it in the car on the way back home afterwards, and he agreed to it. I'm glad because I think he's having fun, and they're fun to watch. Okay. See how long this takes. I hope it's worth it. You should have. I know I want to do it again, which is interesting because last night when I started this guy, I was talking about I think my next painting project after this ATO stuff is going to be Doggo, the Black Knight. So that might be like the next thing I post on my channel is a Squire campaign. See if I can set the record for swearing on YouTube. Apparently, because was it the mountain lion? You said was extremely difficult or punishing or something. I thought about doing Frog Dog too, because I still haven't even built my Frog Dog. But I've been toying with the idea for what to do on my channel, like game wise, and I think what I've decided is that once I can get ATO onto the table again, I'm going to have one of these big campaign games going at once, meaning between ATO and KDM, and then something else. Because I think you can get burned out like super quick if you just only concentrate on one forever. And it's funny that you say that KDM is a massive table commitment. I actually have the bulk of my KDM stuff inside my gaming table. Still to this day, it's just set up so I can take the lid off and just play that whenever I want. So I could leave a big campaign game inside the well of the table and then play something else on top. But I am the type of person who likes to play my Squire campaign will never be fully YouTube likely. Footage is not usable. Swore too much, played rules wrong. Oh, really? There was lots of errata. You know what? Something I don't understand is like, so you know the sim, right? How was it the card back colors were wrong? How does that happen? Like, how can you say that like a testing team actually tested the production branch of the software and didn't notice that? Like, what? That's mind-boggling. Automation bugs and little bugs like that I can understand slipping through QA, but like that's a huge visual clue that something got skipped. Cards are missing for the squires too. See, I don't know, man. That makes you wonder. I mean, to be fair, it's not like they're a software production company, but I mean, you got programmers on staff who should know the process. Well, yeah, that's probably true. Quickly spread some on these big areas that aren't as close to the details. You do not want this stuff to pool up, though. or bubble, you'll get weird little white dots. You also don't want to put it on too thick, or you get paintbrush strokes in there. I don't know how well this is translating through the camera. It's probably not the most compelling painting content ever. But we can kind of see the difference between just straight black and the oily sheen. Steve! Yeah, Black Friday is like KDM holiday, right? It's like the KDM, what, Christmas and New Year's all wrapped together. And I'm sure they love it because it's got to be a huge influx of cash for them too. I can imagine. If people know that there's going to be a sale and they wait to buy. I mean, I think we were talking about it at Gen Con, right? Where like, how many people did you see leaving with the 666 bundle, even at Gen Con? So there's still like interest to get core sets and Gambler's Chest. Yeah. Hi, Riley. Hi, Chicken. Are you waiting for Cycle 4 and 5? I think I remembered that you had Aeon Trespass Odyssey also, right, bro? Mithra? What about Kim, Steve? Would Kim do it? You could send him to Bill. That's the guy that Colin uses. I don't know where Bill is located. I kind of always thought he was local to them, but I'm not sure. Okay, here's what you do, Steve. You get some of Derek's Marvel United characters to practice on. Don't tell him. I'm sure he won't notice if just a couple are missing for a little while. Yeah, this is a Chimera, I think it is, from ATO. I think that's what it's called. It has these pieces that go, like this will be up here. Oop, that's not even on camera. This will sit into here, and then this dragon head sits in the side over here somewhere. But there is this mechanic in the game called vantage points that you can open up. That's basically like you standing on the monster and attacking it from a advantage spot. So when you get that, you can swap out, like you could swap out this piece for this piece on the top, and it's flat and holds your miniature, and then the dragon one is like that. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any zombie side, Steve, but that'd be a good place to start with tons of miniatures, and then it's not really like that big of an investment. And one of my coworkers, that before I even knew he was into board games, had gotten into zombie side, and that's how he started learning how to paint. It's a good time to get into the hobby with all of these methods that make it beginner friendly, like undercoating, also known as slap chop, but I hate that word. Anything's better than gray. I always give Derek a hard time on his channel when he is playing with gray minis. Unpainted bosses get 5 more hit points. It's in the rule book for every game ever that came with minis. I haven't done that in a while, though, because I actually been playing a couple of things without painted minis. Because when you have a line as long as I do of things that need to get painted, some games would never get played if I waited to paint them. Oh man, there's so much on this. Oh, Deep Rock Galactic. Yeah, I know you like that game, don't you? Do you play the uh, video game? I feel like in Discord, I see your status is like playing Deep Rock Galactic a lot. It is a video game too, right? I think. Like if I hop into one of the group chats or something. Yeah. I don't even remember the last video game I played. It's not that I don't like video games. Usually if I'm sitting in front of the TV and there's a video game on, it's like I'm watching my son or helping my son play something. Probably Zelda or Mario related. I've never been the type to like rush out for new consoles and stuff either. So like Xbox or PlayStation. I've never owned any Xbox, actually, now that I think about it. I've owned all the PlayStations except for the new one. And most of them I got well after they were new consoles. The only thing I did, now that I think about it, I did get a Switch at midnight at a Fry's where I used to live. That was like a last minute thing because I was on their like email distribution group, and for whatever reason, that particular Fry's got extra stock than they thought they were going to. So they put out this email and they were like, hey, we got some extra Switches. If anybody's interested, come get on the sign up sheet. You can pick it up at midnight. And it was literally like a 1 minute drive from the office that I worked in. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. That was a long time ago when I still lived in SoCal. "48 minutes of just turbo shift paint." The other thing I started to notice about some board games nowadays that come with miniatures, like these huge Kickstarter miniature games, is I was spending time ahead of time painting the miniatures, And then some particular miniatures would be on the table for like less than 5 minutes and then never come out again. It's like, well, that was dumb. I think Awakened Realms suffers from that a little bit. I remember Ether Fields. Although I'm going to give Ether Fields a pass because it had one of the coolest miniatures ever sculpted in it, the Business Penguin. So penguin carrying a briefcase. Best mini ever. Yeah, that's why. So, like, I started to paint Primal. Um, so I think Primal might be the game I play alongside ATO. I'm going to try it out anyway. So I only painted the 3 heroes I'm going to use, and like the definite first boss fight, and then I think there's like 3 or 4 bosses that could be the second one you fight. So I painted those, and then I'm just like, you know what? After that, because I'm speed painting them anyway, if I choose to fight something that's not painted, I'll sit down for an hour and paint it first. All right. Got to get around the lion now. You can tell when it's detail time. I'm incapable of doing two things at once, talking and concentrating. On where the brush is going. Steve, do you still talk to Mike and Peter and them much? I was kind of curious if anybody went to PAX U this year, or Terrence. I'm not sure where Terrence lives. Does he live in Minnesota? No, he lives in the South somewhere, right? Is that right? Maybe not. I don't remember. PAX U seems like a fun convention to go to. I have almost made it all the way around. I wish there were some decent sized conventions on the West Coast. There's a lot of locals, but it'd be nice to have a big one. But then if it's on the West Coast, everybody just wants to do it in Vegas. Seems like people think that all conventions in the West have to be in Vegas. I almost got it. So Gen Con used to actually travel. There was, I mean, this was a long time ago, but Gen Con was in LA before. I think it was at the Hilton. the Airport Hilton. Origins used to travel too, I think. I mean, I don't fault them though. They get such better deals when they sign long-term contracts. It's just like anything in business. You sign a long-term contract for anything, you're likely going to get a discount. So I got to paint these claws on this guy. Probably going to go with a bone color. I was thinking about doing black. I really like shiny black claws on things, but there's too much dark right around it already. Oh man, I think that's it. I want to look at it with the light off. I think it looks like 10 times better in person than what's translating through the camera. So there now with the spots covered up. I still got to do the details like on the dragon, like the teeth and the eyes and stuff. Yeah. Well, What's next? I want to make sure it's dry. It's a little tiny bit of red on that pillar that is going to bug me if I don't fix it while I'm looking at it. Too much. Problem solved. All right. It's so much nicer having a dedicated painting space. The only bad thing is it being in the garage. In the summer, it's super hot and can get a little dusty out here. This is not much lighter than what's already on there. So, one color up. Even just go straight to 2 colors up. Just sawdust. Oh, is that from Kim? She likes to do woodworking, right? Or am I misremembering? Too bad she missed Gen Con. That would have been fun. Are those the ears or the eyes? I can't tell. Now I think those are the ears. Now where the heck are the eyes? Right there and right there? Hmm. Maybe the dragon doesn't get eyes. We're gonna do red eyes on the snakes. Trying to decide if I want to attempt to do the eyes on the lion. They're right in that strange zone of being just almost big enough where it's going to be easy to do pupils. Well, easier. It's never a walk in the park. Speaking of not being a walk in the park, these angles, man, these angles. Red eyes. Not sure I see eyes on whatever the heck this thing is either. All right, let's get the white out. Not the white out like the mistake fixer white out. Let's get the white paint out. I don't know what matte varnish does to this Turbo Dork stuff. Could always use gloss varnish on it, I guess. But I've got matte varnish for my airbrush. I can always fix it with yellow if I don't like the way this comes out. Fix one side there. I'm painting these white because I'm going to put contrast paint on it. I want them to be fairly bright. To start off with, We just leave those white. Just so they stand out a little bit more. This thing doesn't have symmetrical teeth. They're very asymmetrical. I'm not even sure they're exactly the same here. Pretty close though. Like those ears, they look like they would be like the natural spot for eyes, but I'm pretty sure those are just deep ear lobes. And the eyes are probably right here and right here. I'm not going to worry too much about it. All right, now's the dangerous part. Part that always screws up eyes. Oh wait, I should paint these claws while the white is still out. It's just a good base for the bone color speed paint or skeleton horde contrast paint. Pick your poison. Right there and right there. Start with this side. This is what always happens. You get one that's halfway decent, and then the other one that looks like garbage. I might just have to be happy with it. And before that black dries on the wet palette, do a couple victory laps on some of these previously finished miniatures. I guess it's not finished until I do the victory lap. So previously painted, worked on, what have you. Come on, flip over. Fire starter. This is one of the most satisfying parts of a miniature for me. They just look so much cleaner. I mean, obviously, yes, you're cleaning up the excess little parts of paint that went down onto the rim. There's also something about just having that like little tiny black ring around the bottom. That gives it more of a, I don't know, display feeling, and like you have something to contrast against. And I do think about that when I'm painting my bases, or actually if I'm doing actual basing work. Just keeping in mind that there's going to be this dark black ring around the bottom. You don't have to do black. You don't have to do anything. I just like to do black because then I know everybody's gonna match. Everybody got black. Sorry, bumped the camera. I was like definitely in the mood to paint fire the week. Painted all these guys. All right, there's not enough to paint Skyseer. Is that Skyseer? Nyx? That one? So we'll leave that one for now. I don't know if any of these are going to need a second coat later. I'm not going to call them completely done yet. Let's take a look at this again. Let me do that tongue real quick. I definitely want to put bone color fangs and those talons. I think I'm going to go with Skeleton Horde. Really? Is it going to be the last one I look at? Do I even have any Skeleton Horde? I guess not. Bony matter instead. There's like a little tiny bit of black left. Just enough. I think Skeleton Horde was darker than this bony matter color. But with these transparent paints, you can always achieve a darker color by letting it dry. Then painting over it again. Realistic looking water. I mean, add white caps to the top. Very lightly dry brush the top of the waves with white so that it looks like it has white caps on it. Could be a good place to go. And I do not know if I want to tempt eyeballs on this thing. I wish they were more defined, like on that lion. Like, look at parts of the ocean. Like, it's not as blue as people think it is, unless you're in like the Caribbean or something. But I mean, blue gets the point across that it's water, I guess, right? I think I'm gonna call this done. This is like 3 hours and 43 minutes on this one miniature when I've been harping on saying that I just wanted to spend an hour on each miniature. I think I'm gonna test and see what matte varnish does on one of my test spoons. After all this work, I don't want to like lose all of my there we go. It was on yellow light for some reason. I don't want to lose everything. Have paint rub off. Should I do the base of this while I'm at it? I think I will. Put a little more black out. Need a lot more black than this. Hard to hold. It wouldn't be so hard to hold if I was just not trying to be so careful about touching recently painted parts. But that seems like a smart thing to do. Now I have a little bit more black. Take her off of this. The details on her base go right up to the edge. I like it when there's a little bit of room, so I can just lay the brush flat. Just move along it. Not have to worry about hitting any other thing that's been painted already. All right. I think that's going to be it for today. Gotta go have dinner and then hop on to Colin and Barrett's stream for some KDM goodness tonight. So, if you're still here, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy everything that I put up on the channel. I'll see you in the next one.